Hola, Internet amigos. I thought I'd read you a bedtime story on ASIO. That's the Australian Securities Intelligence Organisation. It's like the CIA of Australia, very close with MI6, MI5, GCHQ. They're concerned about escalating violence. So this Australian Security Intelligence Organisation Director General Mike Burgess says Australia's terror level threat has been raised due to a rising mix of ideologies where more people think, quote, violence is permissible. It's Paul Johnson from the ABC, Australian Broadcasting Corporation, August 5th, 2024. You mean like, invading Iraq because violence is permissible when you're the state and killing 1 million people from 1992 to 2000 and whatever, plus the untold injured, permanently injured and psychologically traumatized? Should we talk Syria? Should we talk Libya? Should we talk Gaza? Should we talk Lebanon? Should we talk Vietnam? Korea? We forget about Korea. That was a mass slaughter of civilians. As the great General MacArthur said, I'm just going to drop atom bombs and finish it over China, near the China-North Korea border. Oh, no, 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 no. No, you're trying to win the war, General MacArthur. No, no. Our aim is to kill as many people as possible, Americans included, because that's the game. So my Burgess is concerned that violence is permissible. Yes, when you kill a bunch of people in the millions and permanently disable them with a vaccine you knew was dangerous at best. At best, it's criminal negligence. At worst, deliberate homicide. People get a bit pissed off. And if you steal the election, they're going to be even more pissed off. Fancy that, everybody. Who would have thought? These are Bolsheviks, all right? The difference between a Bolshevik and a good old-fashioned National Socialist knew he was going to kill you and told you so. He did it very efficiently with a nice letter. They billed the bullet cost to the family, and you knew exactly what you were dealing with. But the Bolsheviks are in shock. They're like, what are you doing? You're fighting back. What the hell? What? Are you mentally ill as well as a terrorist? What are you fighting back for? There's something about Bolshevism which is mental illness. Complete mental illness. It's everywhere now. Anyway, what's the next bit here? Where is it? Mike Burgess has redefined our security challenge to recognize an increasingly intolerant and divided country, and been forced to broaden Asia's traditional focus to respond to a host of new and disturbing trends that, taken together, have undermined social cohesion and increasingly have normalized violence as part of the protest and public debate. There are manifestations of political violence now in our society, or concerns around them, that go beyond terrorism. Lydia Khalil, Lowy Institute says, quote, Lowy, it's Frank Lowy, the Israeli terrorist. Remember that terrorist? Frank Lowy? The Hungarian Jew who made good all his way to Israel and was a terrorist part of... Jeez, you can't make this shit up. It's becoming an increasingly blurry line between what is legitimate in a democratic society and what should be prescribed. Now it's very muddy. Well, I do agree there's ample scope. Still, we hope. Depends how this election goes in the US. If you blatantly steal it with your election guard, Israeli, blah, blah, blah software, or whatever you're using. Remember when Democrats lost in Georgia in 2020, whenever it was, 2012? Oh, those machines were rigged, 100% rigged by the Republicans. When the Republicans said the Democrats rigged it, oh, no, you were completely insane. Remember how they deleted everyone's videos? Quote, a lot of people are frustrated with the way that democracy is working or not working, and they're increasingly believing that it doesn't meet the needs of the average person. No, it meets the needs of Wall Street bankers who stole billions and trillions, in fact, and then paid themselves bonuses and made taxpayers pay for it while they refused to pay any tax. I love this system. Why would people be angry, ladies and gentlemen? I can't. They're down there in the think tanks and they're around big round tables on Chesterfield fucking lounge sets and they're confused. I say, as he spoke his pipe, why are these peasants upset? Damn terrorists. It's completely irrational. I don't know what's wrong with them. Bring me another boy. You can't make this shit up. When I read this, I was literally choking. That the current system doesn't meet the needs of the average person. That it's really focused on elite interest. No shit, Sherlock. Well done, love. Make me a fucking coffee. Kyle says, perceptions of growing inequality, great, huge growing inequality and cost of living. I mean, in Australia, forget about buying a house. And in fact, forget about renting a fucking house. You can live on the streets, the lucky country I grew up in. It's not an accident it's like this. They did it quite deliberately. Elite interests, perceptions of growing inequality and cost of living had led to frustration with governments fueling anti-authoritarian views. Anti-authority. How dare they? How dare these peasants? We care for them. Beat them regularly. We only beat them because we love them. This isn't just a security issue. The rest of it is really a broader societal issue. No shit, Sherlock. Oh. Finally, but his conclusions are a wake-up call to the real-life consequences of the country's drift towards intolerance, violent political rhetoric, and crumbling political and social civility. Cameron Stewart, The Australian newspaper, August the 10th, 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, gosh, the fucking geniuses. The geniuses, our managerial elites have thought, God, the peasants aren't happy just because you can't rent a property without severing both testicles and your penis and selling them at a vast loss. You seem to be upset. Whatever is the problem? I mean, they're all confused. Hey, we have to get easier. Let's get a think tank, some data analytics, maybe spend $1 billion to work out what the problem is. Now, here's the sad bit. They actually are that fucking clueless. They're Bolsheviks in the head. The Bolsheviks were like, what are you doing fighting back? They're literally saying, what's wrong? They're going to get a fucking think tank and 5 billion university professors to come and tell us what the average fucking housewife down the road, I can't afford eggs. That's why when Trump was whining, going, oh, they're picking on me, the media and fake news and the Dems have been guiding me. Meanwhile, people can't afford to pay for the cost of living. And they really don't want to hear that shit. Someone, maybe Bannon should have told him, but Bannon was in jail. It's the economy, stupid. Anyway, it is, of course, I'll tell you the date. It's Thursday night. It's Halloween, but it's the Day of the Dead tomorrow. It's going to be a big weekend, so I might fly the drone around, take some footage. Yes, the Mexicans know how to party. It's Thursday, October 31st. It's 22:58 hours, just about 11 p.m. and I am off to bed. This is late. I'm usually up at 5:30, 6:30. Hopefully now my computer will work. Of course it will work, and the sound and the mic will not be damaged by a 3,000 watt, 12 volt inverter with not a pure sine wave, just a modified sine wave. It's a long story. Why don't I whack this up on YouTube for fun and frivolity? All right, ladies and gents, video tomorrow on why you should vote for Donald Trump, available only on my Patreon. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there will be more voiceovers coming, working on the big script, which was so grandiose and giant, it would take 2 hours. And I thought, I need to make this 2-hour script 20 minutes, and we'll get into the good stuff. Russia, Soviet founding of Israel, found some great material, US State Department from the 50s, recent articles written. It's going to be good. My worry is how the hell do I fit that into 20 minutes? But you got to learn to do 20-minute videos. All right, have a good night's sleep, and don't get demoralized and down. All right, remember they're gonna push constantly. Don't vote; it's a waste of time. Election guard. Well, I'm sure Kamala has a lot of people around, and that's Chabad Lubavitch. They're all the same. Trump's one of them. Of course, Kamala's got people doing all that, but you got to understand: if you disengage from the political scene, you will just leave a vacuum and all be filled by them. We know who they are, and Trump is a blabbermouth clown fool who also happens to respond well to simple commands by Steve Bannon. God willing, he will simply get in there. And there's many things that Trump did, the Trump administration did, that were good, like the CHIPS Act, like a whole host of things, pulling up the military-industrial complex. No one had ever done that before. They went after the Fed, not just in rhetoric, but in really, really powerful rhetoric. And he did it over and over and over again. He went after the East India Trading Company. I'm talking about Bannon. Recently, Trump went after the Fed and said, we have to do something about the Fed. I'll get the quote. And they said, oh my God, he's criticizing the Fed. You got to understand, you don't want to end the Fed. You want to take over the Fed. In fact, America, may I suggest you take over the world. But this time, do it in such a manner with that $1 trillion military. Once you get out all the back doors out of your F-35 and out of your electrical grids and all the crap, all the databases that are Israeli, and the Israelis can just do medical and they can do other stuff. And if they want to work in the high tech, they're going to have to come and get a national security clearance and get big things shoved up their backsides to look at their insides. It's going to be a whole new security clearance protocol, so on. You need to push narratives and get involved. There's no way you want to be seen dead with that fucking vacuous, pathetic fucking moron. I mean, I can't even believe they're running it. I mean, I just sit there in stunned disbelief and just go, who the hell did Kamala Harris ever get a job? She's clearly sucked her way to the top and is one of the most vacuous, pathetic things I've ever seen in my life. Vote for me because I'm a woman. Michelle Obama. You got to sneak away from your husband or partner and vote for Kamala because she's a woman. That will solve everything. A woman will solve everything. Why? Because she's a woman. She's got titties. There we go. Titty power. We're going to solve everything with President Titties. She's got titties, so it's all good. It's not a problem. No, no, no. One day we might get the rhetoric. You got to understand, Bannon's the only one that's come close. And it's not just rhetoric. There's rhetoric and then there's real rhetoric. Let's see what the policies are going to be. But you just got to hold their feet to the fire and you've got to get involved. I wouldn't even bother with the so-called fucking left or whatever they are. They're not even left. They're just nuts. You're right. You got to get involved and take it over. Remember, they want you to be belligerent, demoralized, and say, fuck it, I don't care. They're all shit. They're all this. I get it, man. Don't you think I struggle with it every day myself? And I go, oh, God, slap my forehead. But they want us in that state. And a lot of good things have come out of that Trump administration. Remember what Mattis and Pompeo did, okay? Where Trump was just fucking railing against the Germany and Russian gas pipeline. And, oh, he works for the Russians. Well, if he worked for the Russians, they'd still have their gas pipeline, wouldn't they? If he worked for the Russians, you know, it wouldn't have been the end of the multipolar world order and disengaging China from Israel when Pompeo went over and said, you're not doing any more deals with China, and that's that. It wouldn't have happened if they were working for Chabad and the multipolar world order and Hans Kissinger. So, with that in mind, try not to be demoralized. There are dark forces running around. They want you disengaged. They want you belligerent. They want you angry. They want you anxious because you can't think and you can't plan. You've got to be happy and understand, have some green tea and relax because everything's going to be just fine. Syria, not so sure. Gaza, not so sure. Lebanon, not so sure. Iraq, Middle East, not so sure. But your life is just fucking fine. And I'm 54 years old. On October the 27th, I turned 54. And I've seen all this shit before. If there's one good thing about getting older is you've seen it all before. I've seen that music before. I know that beat. I've seen that TV show before. It's all this, it just all goes round and round. We're still fucking here. Doesn't mean disasters can't happen, but the chances are very fucking slim. It's not going to be World War III. Everything that is done, everything that will happen will be managed. Remember this word, managed. It will all be managed. We'll talk again soon. There's still hope. Remember, not only do the Russians love their children too, I promise you, the CIA, DIA, NSA, state and federal authorities, policing, Homeland Security, they're human beings too. And they have feelings and they have children and they have mortgages just like us. And they're reading this stuff and they know all about that vax and they've seen all this stuff that's gone on. We're not alone. They want you to feel demoralized and alone, belligerent, with no hope. Don't let them do that to you. Not everyone is against us. All right, video for my patrons tomorrow.